We are 1 week away from the Ocean State Paracon, and we're also going to talk about the new Ghostbusters movie coming up because there's been a lot of controversy going on about it. Listen, I'm not for it, but that doesn't mean I hate women. We'll get into all that and more coming up on tonight's edition of Spooky South Coast. Welcome to Spooky South Coast. Tim Weisberg here, along with Stephanie Burke and the silent assassin Matt Costa, broadcasting live on WBSM as well as on YouTube and SpookySouthCoast.com. And are we doing the Facebook Live tonight, Matt Costa?
I'm trying to get up.
Oh, you're working on that? Okay. This is how we do things here. We try to multi-platform. So we try to have as many different ways as possible for you to check out the show. We are here to talk about the paranormal, as we are each and every Saturday night. And tonight we are going to talk about some local paranormal stuff. We're going to be talking about the Ocean State Paracon that's coming up next weekend. Right? Next weekend. I don't even know what date it is anymore. I think it's next weekend, though, right?
I have no idea.
That's the 16th. Today's the 11th, 15th, 10th? What's today?
Today's the 9th.
The 9th? So, yeah, it's
the
next
weekend would be 16, 17.
Because I'm terrible at both math and calendars.
Perfect.
So that's why when everybody was worried about the Mayan calendar, I was like, I don't. But it's going to be a great time down there in Harrisville, Rhode Island, at the Assembly Theater and along the banks of the river there. It's a great day. Hopefully the weather will cooperate. I haven't looked at the forecast, the future cast, but it should be a good time. So we'll talk with Ken DeCosta, the founder of RISEUP Paranormal and the organizer of the Ocean State Paracon. A little bit later on, we're going to find out what charity they're working with this year, who some of the guests will be, what some of the topics that will be of the discussions that will be going on. I know what I'll be talking about. My lecture is entitled, I Want to Believe Mostly. And so I'm going to try and talk about belief systems in the paranormal. I'm going to try and talk about when people get overly convinced of things and it's impossible to show them the light. It's impossible to have a discussion, a debate, a discourse about what it is that they're presenting. Mm-hmm. And we'll also talk a little bit about how belief systems have been affected over centuries too by what goes on in the paranormal, or how paranormal belief systems have been affected over the centuries by what goes on in the field itself. So it should be a pretty good discussion.
It sounds really interesting. I'm sad I'm missing it.
I don't know how good it'll be. It sounds like a good topic. I don't know how good it'll be once the discussion actually starts.
I think you'll be fine.
The audience is usually pretty good about bailing me out, but
right. You always do a great job.
I have not given a bad one yet. At least I haven't gotten any bad reviews yet. I think people have just been, if they thought it was bad, they were nice enough not to tell me or post it online. But
that could be it, but I've seen you in action, and I do have to say it's
last October, I was all over the place, and there were some nights where, I just felt like the crowd wasn't into the topic, and I just try and do the best that I can. But there's certain audiences that you can feel, if you're going into a library and doing a discussion, there's certain times that you can tell, like, people are just there because they want to get out on a Tuesday night. And they're not buying anything you're saying. They're not interested in anything you're saying. They're just there because it's better than sitting at home and staring at paint drying on the wall.
Yeah, but you know what? They also chose to be there, so I say it is what it is.
But this will be different because this is going to be a crowd that is ravenous about paranormal topics, so it's always very engaging. The only thing, too, that I like about doing the lectures there is you get to be inside the theater and do the lectures in the theater, which is great because usually it's really hot out and you can get inside the air conditioning for a little while.
Right.
But you're on a big stage too. So you have that feeling of like, really better deliver because I'm standing on an actual real stage instead of just standing in front of like a bed sheet hanging on the wall.
Yeah, the old school days of Ocean State Paracon, we were in the church and we were all in the basement and it was hot.
Oh, see, I've never been in there.
Really?
But yeah, the theater is
I
nice.
thought
It's
you
a
did.
nice theater. No, I went for the first time, I think, last year or the year before? The year before last.
Well, I used to go to every single one. And maybe it was Matt Costa that was with me. And Matt Moniz. I can't remember.
I know, yeah, you've been, Matt Costa. We were talking about it earlier, about where it used to be.
Oh, yeah. We went to, it was at the church,
Yep.
I believe. I think.
And there was just,
me and Moniz,
one
yeah.
room, and that was it that people sat at. But the upstairs was beautiful. It was phenomenal there. But I haven't been to Harrisville, so.
Well, I think it was a conscious decision when they invited me to stop having it in the church.
There you go.
Because they were afraid I would offend somebody. So that's probably... Well, we'll have to ask Ken when we have him coming on a little bit later on. And then also later on tonight, I want to talk about the new Ghostbusters movie. I want to just go on record as saying that I've been against this from the beginning.
Okay.
Since I've heard about it. It has nothing to do with it being an all-female cast.
Well, no, because you hang out with me all the time, so.
It has everything to do with who the females are in the cast.
Now, I know we're jumping ahead of ourselves, but is it because it's the females in particular, or are you just against the reboot period? Like, don't ruin a classic?
I figured it was going to happen, that if they were going to make a movie, it was going to have a new cast.
Okay.
I did not expect that it would be, because it had been in different discussions over the years. I mean, this is something they've been talking about since the 90s.
Right.
So originally it was going to be, I think, Ben Stiller and Janine Garofalo. And so it was going to be like, a lot of the 90s comedians and comic actors. And then as we came through the years, then at one point it was supposed to be Jonah Hill and Seth Rogen and that crowd. And now the idea came along to make it an all-female cast, which, again, I wouldn't have been opposed to. I just, the ones that they picked.
I like Melissa McCarthy, though.
See, she irritates me.
Really?
Yep. And all four of them together, they could probably be fine on their own. But for some reason, it's like, well, I cannot stand Kristen Wiig. But when you put them all together, it's like, and I like Leslie Jones, and I think Kate McKinnon's pretty good on SNL.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think like there's just something not right about them coming together.
I don't know how I feel about Kristen Wiig. I mean, if you want to go back to like Bridesmaids, she was all right.
Yeah, no, that was a well-made movie, and they
Yep.
got the best out of the two of them in that film.
But I think Melissa McCarthy was way funnier.
I think Kristen Wiig is funnier when she's not trying to be funny.
Yeah,
If
she's
that
one,
makes
it's
sense. I don't
almost
know if that makes
awkward to
sense.
watch her. But I mean, I've been a fan of Melissa McCarthy since the Gilmore Girls days, and I mean, some of her movies are way funnier than others, but I don't know how I'm feeling the whole Ghostbusters thing.
See, you're not a regular SNL viewer,
I used to be a long time ago.
but you haven't been watching this cast over the last
No.
few years, and especially Kristen Wiig when she was on.
Yep.
And they beat every character to death.
Mm.
Where it's like, oh boy, they're doing the Lawrence Welk bit again.
I fast forward through many Kristen Wiig sketches.
Oh boy, it's Gilly again. Gilly was the worst. And I think Gilly's like the standard bearer for overdone characters. But what was it? Garth and something? Where her and Fred Armisen were the singers? Garth and Kat or something?
Oh yeah, that was one of those.
That was a
that I
fast
never
forward.
watched.
Yep. Just pretty much everything she did. The one that I liked, and they didn't do it enough, was when her and Jason Sudeikis played the a-hole couple. That was really good.
Yeah.
They just didn't do that enough.
I think that was more Jason Sudeikis though, because he's hilarious.
Of course. We were just talking about potato chips earlier. We were sharing potato chips, and I asked you to give me back my potato chip. That's who I would have wanted to see in a Ghostbusters movie. I would have wanted to see Will Forte and Jason Sudeikis together. Because, and again, it's not a sexist thing, but
No, I
they
know.
have great chemistry, and I think they would have been hilarious together. The problem is that I'm not, for four people that have done a lot of stuff together on SNL, I don't feel any chemistry from the four of them. The trailer looks horrible. Nothing was funny. And I don't think that, another hour and 45 minutes of them together is going to change my mind. And the only good thing about the movie, Matt, is that it brought back the Ectocooler.
That's right.
Which we've been searching for forever now.
And we've been enjoying it tonight.
Let me see if I can.
Remember when you were a kid, though, and an Ectocooler juice box could last you a little while?
I feel like they were bigger.
I think they were. I think that's
Like-
part of the calorie thing now.
But I think it's everything. Like juice boxes are smaller. Little Debbie snacks are smaller. My waist isn't though.
Well, that's why, because they're trying to limit the calorie intake that we have. It's like you can still have your High C juice box and your Little Debbie fruit
Right.
snack, but we're just going to give you smaller versions of them, and you're not going to realize it, but I realize it. I realize it when I have to eat 2 Star Crunch now instead of 1. I have to eat both sides of the package. Do they still have Star Crunch? I don't even know.
What is
They
that?
do, but you really have to find it.
You don't know Star Crunch?
No, I don't.
What?
Wow.
Not
I
telling.
don't know.
Well,
She
No,
looks
I'm
like,
not.
not calling you guys.
She looks like a
old,
Drake's
but
cake.
No, that has nothing to do with you. That just has to do with the fact that like I wouldn't have thought that Star Cakes would have been something that disappeared. Star Crunch. I would have
have
thought
no
that would have
idea
been
what it
something that they kept around. It was essentially. How would you
I don't
describe
even
it?
know what it was.
It was kind of like a Rice Krispies treat covered in chocolate, but it was
Right.
it was firmer than a Rice Krispies treat. If
But
you
and the chocolate kind of was in it, too.
was it in it too?
Yeah, I don't know.
It was
Yep.
like a
All right.
really chewy Rice
I've never
Krispies
even
treat.
heard of
It
it.
was-
There was
it was like
caramel
they
in
were-
it. That's what was in it. There was caramel in
They
it.
took caramel and they took Cocoa Krispies
Okay.
and then they mashed it into like a hamburger patty, and then they covered it with chocolate.
Was it shaped?
Kinda.
Was it round or was it star shaped?
I think it
Are
was,
you googling it right
think
now?
it
I'm
was
googling it
supposed
right
to
okay,
now.
good, because I think I need
Maybe
to see
it
a
was
picture
supposed
of
to be
this.
Star Crunch. I never understood why it was called.
Oh no,
Star
you're right.
Crunch.
No, it looked like. You know those things you used to give a dog, the Gaines burgers? It was like a chocolate-looking Gaines burger. Let's see. Well, you can buy them from Amazon, so they must still make them.
Can you?
I can't imagine. I can't turn the camera. I can't turn the computer because we have a camera on top of it. But
Oh yeah, that's right.
will it
Oh, all right.
all right. So that was Star Crunch right there.
Yeah, no,
Wow. You never saw that.
nope.
Were you a Little Debbie's fan?
I was
or-
gonna say, is it a Little Debbie's thing? Because I can kind of. I mean, I need my glasses to see that far, but I don't really know. I have no idea. What does she make?
You were Mrs. Freshly's type of person.
No, I have
Or-
no idea. I think I just grab whatever I like
Oh.
and.
What is
that's
a
that.
Star Crunch made of? It's a soft, chewy cookie topped with topped with caramel and crisp rice, then covered in a layer of fudge. So that's a perfect definition.
There you go. Sounds like it could be good.
They were delicious, but they were also very, very chewy. So you mean, so you had to have your Ectocooler
Okay.
to wash down your Star Crunch with. Although Ectocooler, the original incarnation of it, I remember having that more with the Hostess Choco Bliss, which I'm pretty sure that the Surgeon General told Hostess, like, please stop making the Choco Bliss. Kids are dying from it because it's so
Oh
sweet.
my god.
But it was like nonstop chocolate.
I don't know if I had a chocolate bliss.
It was bad. I didn't like them. See, my dad would go out and buy like a box of something because there was 5 kids in my family.
Mm-hmm.
So he would go out and buy a box of something Hostess and then put one in each kid's snack
Right.
for school. And so because back then, kids, we didn't have to have an apple. They would let us bring in whatever we wanted
I
for
was
snack.
a Hostess fan.
I remember when I brought in like a slice of pizza as snack one day and a piece of leftover Papa Gino's pizza. And all the other kids were like, you brought pizza for snack? That's genius. And then the next thing you know, like kids are bringing in like turkey subs as like their
Yep.
snack.
And that's how you got to be the mayor of 3rd grade.
The teacher
Oh my
was finally
God.
like, this is ridiculous. We're not having lunch at 10 o'clock and then lunch again at 12 o'clock. Like, we need to curb this a little bit. But it was, that was
Second breakfast.
right.
Hmm.
3rd meal.
Yeah.
But I think we owe Taco Bell some royalties. But
That's
the
hysterical.
the Star Crunch was one of those ones when you were a kid that that's what you wanted. Little Debbie overall, not so good.
No.
I was not a fan of zebra cakes. I was not a fan of what were some of the other Little Debbies. Fudge rounds.
I could probably rifle a bunch. Yeah.
All right, so do it.
Well, they had like the donut sticks, which were.
Oh yeah, the
which were-
donut sticks were good though. I like the donut sticks.
Nope.
But you had to have some sort of liquid with it, because I mean, you try to eat. You can't eat 2 donut sticks without drinking.
No, you had to have like a
You
whole
definitely
milk
had to.
for
Right. Then they had.
I used to dunk my donut sticks.
they had the Star Crunch, the Cosmic Brownie.
Oh, the cosmic
Then-
I was
brownie.
gonna say
Uh,
those cosmic brownies always looked disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of were.
They are. They are. I
No,
don't know.
no prepackaged brownie has ever been very
No.
good.
Well, I think
Except-
the Cosmic Brownie, they didn't even cook it. It was just like
It was like
they,
gooey, right?
They might have cooked
Like-
it for like 5 minutes.
I
Right,
just remember
yeah.
it like
Yeah,
sticking
it
to
was
the
all-
package.
yeah,
My
it was
friends used to
gross.
have them
It
at
was just
snack
gross.
time.
Yeah.
And
What-
it was just gross.
What were those brownies? And I think you can still get them, but like no, there's never been a packaged brownie, and I'm a brownie guy, but there's never been a packaged brownie that I've enjoyed, except for the ones they would sell like at Cumberland Farms, like right by the register. It was like a square. It'd be like in a little basket, and they'd have like the square brownie, and it had like a yellow logo on it. And sometimes they had nuts, and I used to get mad if it was the nut ones because I don't like nut brownies. But I can't remember like what the name of it was. Those were the only good packaged brownies ever.
I think it was like the Boston Baking Company or something.
So that's
They-
probably right.
You can find them like here and there, but they're
Those
few
were
and far
good.
between.
Why do you guys know so much about this?
Because years ago we were gonna start a ghetto snack blog.
Okay.
That's what these are referred to
Okay.
as. These are referred to as ghetto snacks.
They are.
We were gonna review.
It's not too late.
No,
still
it's really
could.
not. I
I mean, just look at me. I've already given up. So I might as well just review ghetto snacks now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you
It's gonna
should
be like
probably
food reviewers, but it was gonna
hurry
be
up
snack
and do
cakes,
that before somebody else takes your idea now that you announced it to the world.
Yeah. Oh man, see.
I'm
and
sure
this is
I'm
going to
sure
go
they
out
have
to
one out
millions
there.
of people.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
We didn't
somebody's
really want to
already
make
done
money off it. We just wanted a product endorsement. We just wanted.
it. Just send us free snacks.
Right.
to
We just
review.
wanted some little.
But if
Debbies.
they're gross snacks, then why do you want them?
Well, because we got them for free, so it
Oh my god.
doesn't really matter. I mean, we'll still eat it. But
All
yeah,
right,
see,
then.
this is what's funny is like this has nothing to do with the paranormal, but this is
No.
like
This-
we're gonna get so many emails from this.
This is terrible paranormal radio, but
We're getting
Great.
so many comments on YouTube in the chat room.
You know what though? People get to know us for who we are, and you either love us or you love to hate us. It is
We're-
what it is.
We're probably gonna get a ton of hashtag Spooky Live stuff on Twitter.
Perfect.
This is what people want to talk about. They're like, ghosts are fine.
We're going
But
to talk about ghosts.
We
We're
really
just
want to talk about snacks.
talking about snacks too. And honestly, what kind of paranormal investigation would it be if you did not have snacks?
that's true.
I remember,
really-
I mean, doing what I do, especially like, the psychic medium type stuff, drains you completely. An entire investigation would drain anyone, but I end up totally out of it before, I don't know, maybe a couple hours in. And it was always Mike Markowitz. Every time I went out with him, he would have a complete car full of snacks because he knew it would keep
Yeah,
me going.
You need it.
And it was so funny because he always thought about me ahead of time, and I always appreciated it because I needed it.
Well, maybe he was telling you he thought, but maybe Mike Markowitz just drives around with a car full of snacks anyway.
Oh no, it was like special snacks that he got just for the night. It was hysterical.
Well,
He would sit me down and be like, "Okay, we got this, we got this, we got this," and like it was a tradition that we had.
because Mike grows his own vegetables, and
Oh my
he's
God,
always
yeah.
making all these great healthy
Yep.
meals. So I wouldn't be surprised if he has a secret supply in the
Has
trunk.
he ever talked to you about his worms?
Yes, oh yes.
Yep.
But thankfully, I haven't had to eat any.
Right.
But I will. I mean, I'll try pretty much any snack, and especially on investigation nights, event nights, whatever. You're always looking for something at 2:00 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Ghetto snacks are where you go, where you turn to,
Not
and
me.
fruit pies are my go-to.
Fruit pies.
Yep,
Okay.
like the Hostess fruit pies, and
Mm-hmm.
even the knockoff ones. The Little Debbie ones aren't bad, but there's some knockoff ones, the Mrs. Freshly's and the JJ's Bakery. I had one this week. Ken DeCosta is calling in. He's like, I don't even know what they're talking about.
Right.
But
Wrong
I'm gonna
radio
save this.
show.
But I had a new JJ's Bakery, like pie cake thing this week. Boston cream. Bought it out of a vending machine at my day job. Boston cream.
Mm-hmm. And you're a huge Boston cream fan.
I do. I love Boston cream, but I love pudding. And oh yeah,
Especially $240.
$240 worth of
I
pudding.
was waiting. Please don't bring that back to that video. Please
But
don't do it.
this they called it Boston cream, but
Mhm.
all it was they basically put chocolate pudding and vanilla pudding into a fruit pie.
That's disgusting.
The fruit. How they have like the pudding
Yep.
version of the fruit pies. So that's all that it was, and they called it Boston cream. I was like, this is genius. Why did it take so long for somebody to come up with this? So, going from talking about a variety of snacks to talking about the upcoming Ocean State Paracon, we have joining us on the line the founder of RISEUP Paranormal, Ken DeCosta. Good evening, Ken. How are you?
Good evening, folks. How's everybody doing tonight?
Well, we're hungry now because we.
Well, obviously I am too. I just caught the tail end of that, and there's no decent bakeries open right now. You're killing me.
Well, that's the thing is what we're talking about. You would never find
Right.
at a decent bakery.
It's a ghetto snack.
We're talking about the stuff that you find because we got the Ectocooler in here, and we were, they have the Ghostbusters Twinkies are out now too.
Right.
But you do a lot of investigations during the course of the year, a lot of events. Do you have like a go-to 2 a.m. snack that you have to grab on your way home?
Yeah, anything that, well, during the investigation, anything that doesn't crunch or make noise. But I'm usually, on the way home, I break down, it's a bag of chips and a bottle of Gatorade of some type. That's usually my go-to for the ride home.
Because you need it. I mean, you've burned out your energy, your electrolytes are down, you need a little something.
Well, you got to have it. You got to have it. It's just, especially the Gatorade at one point, because especially when we do the public things, I end up talking so much that I get sick of hearing myself talk. So sore throats result in that. So anything I can just swig down in the hour or so it takes to get home is fine by me.
Is there ever a time when you can remember being on an investigation and literally feeling like you had no energy to continue, like you were just completely sucked out of any energy you might have had?
Yeah, once in a while you kind of get that way when we do like the late night things, and it's like 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning or something like that. You just sort of like, you just feel like it's out of you, and then you're just sort of like makes it worse because it's like, oh, it's such a long drive home and something like that. But I haven't been as bad as some, because I've seen people literally, because they missed a meal or something like that and didn't have anything, I've seen them drop during investigation. That's scary. And right away, everybody is thinking that, they become possessed or something like that. But actually, they just kind of miss lunch and dinner and on a long night and then maybe a hot night inside of a place. So, that's gotten scary sometimes. But we usually just try to get some fluids in them and just kind of resuscitate them a little bit.
But we won't have to worry about that next weekend, because there's going to be plenty of food and snacks around at the Ocean State Paracon 2016. It's happening again at the Assembly Theater in Harrisville, Rhode Island, and it's taking place. It's 12 to 7 both days, both Saturday and Sunday.
Yes, it is. And on Friday night, we're also offering a choice of 2 investigations that you can come on. One is Smith's Castle in Wickford, Rhode Island, and the other is the Pain House, which is just about RISEUP's base of operations at this point, 5 years into it. Saturday night, we're offering the Assembly Theater itself as an investigation, and all that information can be found on RISEUPParanormal.com. If you just click on the Paracon on the menu box, it'll take you for advance tickets or any of those investigations that you want to participate in, and so all the pertinent information will be there.
And you can get it right there. It is. It's all right there. It's easy to find. One question, though, that I do have is when you bring people to these places, because you do events at these places throughout the course of the year, but, Paracon's different because you bring in a lot of people from all over. A lot of people are coming from all over the country and some from internationally. When they get into these little quaint New England haunts, I mean, that must mean more to them even than any of the evidence that they might find, because you're getting to really step back in time, as opposed to other places where they're like, oh, we investigate the oldest building in town. It's 100 years old. We get you get to go into places that are much older than that all the time.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you look at Pain House, we're talking about 1668. When people come in that have never been there before, and a lot of them have heard about this if they follow us or follow the event, they've heard about the Pain House, they've heard about Smith's Castle, but then they actually have an opportunity to come in, and I think it kind of energizes us too when people come in kind of wide-eyed. Maybe it's the first time in New England, or maybe it's the first time they've had an opportunity to walk into a place they've read about and heard so much about. It kind of like motivates us too to do an even better job for them, because we know it's their first time and maybe their last time. They won't get that opportunity again. So we want to make sure that they have a great experience. Of course, we can't guarantee that, spirits are going to show up and they're going to have anything profound happen to them. But we just love when people come in, like you say, from all over the country. We've had people come in from Italy and go with us on these things. And it's always great to see. And I'm glad that we could do a little bit to kind of enhance their experience.
And it also helps, increase the visibility of these locations. So it makes it so that now, despite all the great stuff that you guys do there, you know, the rest of the year, they still want to be able to bring people in for tourism and have interest in these locations. So that's only going to spill over. And I always tell people when they come to one of our events and they're running around in the dark at night, you know, if you like it now, come back during the day and come back and really experience the history.
Yeah, and very much like you guys do. I mean, we use the paranormal to attract people that have an interest in that, but ultimately we want them to come into the locations and learn about the past, learn about the history, learn a little bit about the town even. So, you know, it's good because you have that balance, and bringing people into these places can be beneficial, because I can't tell you how many times that someone's come in to an investigation and winds up getting a membership in the Historical Society or something like that. So, and I think that's important, too, because you need new generations of people to come in and take an interest in these places just to perpetuate it, to keep the doors open, you know, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you know, and, you know, some of us may not even be around. And if it's the paranormal that turns them onto it, then that's great.
I mean, that is a big problem because you know, just like you, I talk to a lot of people that are involved in historical societies and running some of these places, and that is one of the biggest problems. Is there is no younger generation that's willing to come in and take stewardship of these locations, except for people that are interested in the paranormal. That seems to be kind of the lifeblood of keeping the next generation interested in these places.
Right. So that's why when we do these things, of course, you know, we're doing it under the premise that we're going to investigate, but we try as hard as we can not to turn the place into the haunted house or the spooky house or something like that. So we give them the background history. It's like, why is this place here? What's significant about it and everything like that. So we try to strike that balance as much as they're there for that purpose. We want them to visit again. We want them to come back. Like you say, that's the perfect way to do it. Come back in daytime when you can get a tour of the place and you've had your paranormal fix. We'll come back and listen to some of the docents talk about the history of these places. So in doing that, we try to work hand in hand with the historical societies. And, you know, because funding is so hard to come by these days, a lot of them have had to kind of think outside the box a little bit and open doors to things like this that might have been closed a number of years ago. But it all comes down to intent and approach, you know, how we approach it, how you approach it, where we're trying to work hand in hand with them and not stray too far off their message in doing what we're trying to do.
And in addition to, you know, benefiting those locations, also Ocean State Paracon every year benefits a different charity, and you have a very special one picked for this year.
We do. This year we've decided that the beneficiary will be the Rhode Island Coalition Against Domestic Violence. And we try to keep these charities local because 100% of the profits will go to these organizations. In a small state like Rhode Island, we want to make sure that every dollar gets there. A lot of times we call them charities, which sometimes has a sort of negative connotation to it, where it sounds like a handout or something. But these are really advocacy programs, and they're staffed by an army of volunteers who put their own time in to try to reach out and help people who need it. So in doing something like this, we want to do just our small part in giving them the resources that the administrators need to run a solid program and help as many people as they possibly can.
And also, I mean, I'm sure it wasn't something that really kind of played into it too much, but, you know, the paranormal community, the paranormal family was kind of struck by, you know, what can happen with domestic violence earlier. Well, it was late last year. So, I mean, it does go to show that, you know, it can touch all of our lives.
It certainly can. And, you know, it wasn't the main stimulus for doing this with the instance, with the tragedy that involved the Constantinos. But it did contribute to it in a way. But we didn't want to sensationalize it or, you know, because
Right.
I never met them. So we didn't want to, you know, make this about them and sort of, you know, prey on people's emotions and things like that. This is just a worthy cause in and of itself. But one of the more gratifying things that came out of this is I found out that the event was actually shared on the Constantinos Facebook page, and I wasn't aware of it until a friend let me know. So, you know, I was kind of touched by that, and also, you know, very happy that they in their own way supported this. So that was kind of cool.
I think that it's great when you can get anybody to come together and sit around and really talk about the paranormal and to share stories and experiences and theories. But you've put together a group, as always. I mean, it seems like each year the lineup gets better and better, but there really is like a who's who of not only New England paranormal researchers here, but people from all over.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I never envisioned was that this apparently became a destination stop. And 5 years ago, we never imagined anything like that. We figured if we raised $1,000 for, muscular dystrophy or the Autism Society, that would be great. And then that jumped to $5,000 last year for the Wounded Warrior Project. But, the way this has grown and the amount of people who want to come to this type of thing, I mean, it's humbling. It really is. And people from the local community, Samantha Hawes, Christopher Rondina, Dustin Parry, Joe Chin, Tiffany Rice, Evan Sylvia, John Brightman. I mean, Carl Johnson, Keith Johnson, and the one and only inimitable Tim Weisberg this year. I mean, the people from the local community, and you look at people like Andrea Perron and Rosalind Bound and some of the other people, Dave Giuliano, Bob Christopher, they're coming from longer distances, and I can't stress this enough. I mean, they're coming here of their own volition, on their own dime, making their own accommodations, which is almost unheard of these days, to support whatever it is that we do, whatever that particular cause might be. And we have a great time doing it, and we get to hear a lot of different perspectives and a lot of different vendors, whether that's paranormal groups or whether it's local artists, with their jewelry and handcrafted items, stained glass, whatever the case may be. It all just gets everybody together to do some good in the local community, and I can't express how grateful I am for the ongoing support of this every year. And I have people next year who have already contacted me from Minnesota and a lot of places far away that want to be a part of this, and it's mind-blowing how this has grown, and I can't say how appreciative I am to everybody who supports this.
Well, and it helps too that a lot of people want to come to this because it's not your typical, stuffy, everybody's in a convention center or in a hotel ballroom. I mean, for the most part, you're outside, you're able to kind of freely walk amongst each other and talk. And it seems like a very, no pressure, very relaxed kind of family atmosphere.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Tim, that we're proudest of, because even when we were down in a church basement in a hall the first couple of years, we wanted to make this as laid back an event as possible, without that kind of corporate structure. And, we wanted to make our guests accessible and just have everybody just be able to mingle and roam around. And, having it outside seemed to enhance that. So we took a chance that first year. It's like, wow, what's this going to be like? We're outside underneath tents. But it actually made it even better because I think everybody relaxed even more, on a nice, warm summer New England weekend, to get up from your table, to walk around, shake some hands, take some pictures, have a few laughs, go inside the theater, listen to the speakers. I think it kind of amplified that whole atmosphere that we've tried to create, where everybody's on the same level and, again, very accessible. And I think it's just made it even better. So, we've been very fortunate over the last 5 years.
And, of course, in addition to everybody kind of just hanging out and being there, and you can walk by their table and talk with them and, purchase some of their swag, but also, there'll be a great lineup of discussions both days.
Oh, absolutely. Over the 2 days, we're starting at 12:30. There'll be speakers inside the theater, and there'll be 6 a day, and we'll go till 6:15 at night, give everybody a chance to kind of decompress before we shut down at 7 o'clock. But, I mean, Andrea Perron will speak, Krista Cesare, Christopher Rondina, yourself, Keith and Sandra, as I mentioned, and everybody else there will have an opportunity to get up on stage with a different type of talk and a different topic, and share some of their perspectives and share some of the experiences that they've had in the years that they've investigated the paranormal or researched it. So we always try every year to, you know, find different people without being exclusionary, but to bring different voices in and let everybody have a wider range of information that's coming from these people.
And I don't want to dwell on any negative stuff, but, just, I will say, don't leave early. Stay and attend as many of these as you can, because you never know what kind of, you never know what might pop up in one of these discussions, as we saw last year.
Dun, dun,
Oh yeah,
dun.
we had a little bit of controversy kind of pop up last year, and it's no secret in the paranormal community that there's some animosity between Miss Perrin and the current owners of the farmhouse that The Conjuring was based on, and the current owner saw fit to come in last year and. I don't know the right word I'm looking for, but sort of put the Perrins on a spot, because they've had some acrimony going on between them about the property. But, I thought it was handled with, as best we could. It was handled in as classy and as quiet a way as we could. But those type of things I just didn't think are appropriate for what we're trying to accomplish here. But, hey, you never know. You know what I mean? If you show up, I'm not promoting it, but you never know what might happen, right?
Well, hey, listen, Roger Perrin's in his 80s, all right? I don't think I'd mess with him still.
Yeah.
And he's sitting right next to me, and I'm like, whoa, like I would not cross this guy.
Yeah, Roger's a good guy, but Roger's opinionated himself, and he's not afraid to speak his mind, which, hey, listen, he's a native New Englander. We're all kind of like that up here, we just say what's on our mind, and then, 5 minutes later we forget all about it.
And I'll say, I kept watching on YouTube to see if any video of that was going to pop up. You guys at Rise Up, you're better than Prince about keeping, what you don't want on YouTube, because I never saw any video surface of that, so good job on that.
Yeah, and you know what? We wouldn't have censored it. But, typically people film these things, and last year, for whatever reason, we didn't have a camera going. If nothing else for posterity, maybe we could use it for how to run a Paracon type of instructional video. Here's what you don't want at yours, or something like that. We could have made it work for us.
Well, I did put out an invite recently to both Norma and Andrea about coming on, and Andrea responded and right away and said that she would do it, but that not to expect Norma to do it, and I still haven't heard back from Norma. So maybe things will be quiet this year. And
yeah, I mean, you kind of hope so, because obviously there's litigation going on now. There have been lawsuits filed, so I would think that it's in everyone's best interest while this is going on not to say much about anything, because you never know what can come back and be used against you. So, but we'll be vigilant about it and everything like that. We managed to walk away and try to have a good laugh at it and things like that. But, it's emotions run high when it comes to that particular topic. But as I said, when we kind of calmed everything down, we just hope that that's not the last thing that everybody would remember about such an otherwise positive event, trying to do some good in the community. So I guess we'll find out, Tim.
And I'm sure it'll be a discussion point for a lot of people. It'll be coming up in conversation. I've seen you post a little bit about it on social media, and it's one of our topics for discussion tonight on the show. I got to ask you, what are your thoughts and feelings on this new Ghostbusters movie that's coming out?
My feelings are that immediately people, the only thing I kind of resent about it are the people that are trying to make it a gender statement and some type of social statement. Like, if I don't like the movie and I say, I just thought it was terrible, and obviously we haven't seen it, but if I were to say I just don't like it, I think immediately people would say, well, why? Because it's all women in it? It's like, no. I really don't care. I think the world of Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig. I love Bridesmaids. Paul Feig is directing it. He directed Bridesmaids. I thought it was an hysterical movie. So we'll wait and see. My feeling is there's certain things maybe you don't reboot or remake. Ghostbusters is in that category, and I put that there with, different genres, but like The Godfather, I don't ever want to see it rebooted or remade. I think it's a standalone classic. I kind of feel that way about Ghostbusters to a degree, so, I mean, we'll see. I just don't think that, in my case, it won't have anything to do with the gender of the people who are stars in the movie. It's funny, or it's good, or it's not.
Well, and you're somebody that has a pretty good filter to be able to turn off, you know, the paranormal world filter and be able to look at things from a real world perspective. And I think overall there's a lot of, you know, vitriol toward people who are against this movie because they're saying it's sexist to be against it. And I think that goes beyond just the paranormal, but in the paranormal community itself, there's a lot of people who, because it's always been perceived as such a boys' club, and I don't know why, because, you know, it's a field that there's so many more women involved with than I could count in my lifetime, but still, there's always that perception that it's a boys' club. And so I think within the paranormal world, people are even more adamant about, you know, if you're against it, you're sexist.
Yeah. And, boy, you just made a great point, and it's one that I've made myself on multiple occasions to people. I think people make that judgment that it's a boys' club based on what they see on television, and I can't disagree if you think about it. Mm-hmm. You run down all the shows that manage to survive. Mostly it's male-generated, male-populated, and I think people kind of project that into reality, and this is why I think TV... It kind of follows us up a little bit here, and people get really emotional, and they get, you know, very excited about this, how this is a boys' club, et cetera, and so forth. And you just made a great point. It's like, in reality, you know, more women are involved in this than men. Not only that, but I speak just for our organization, RISEUP, and not only just Rhode Island, but the other 4 states in New England where we have affiliates. The lion's share of the people that are involved in this are female. Are Connecticut, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Leeds are all females, and they're great. So I don't really identify with that, and I just don't think that I just think it's too much of what people are taking off television and somehow, you know, making that, you know, a reason, you know, like they need one to just say what's on their mind, and that's fine, but I don't see it in reality.
Well, that's just like everyday media. No matter what, everybody just believes what they see on the news, or they believe what they see on TV, and you know, something as simple as an 8-hour investigation cut into a half hour or an hour, people just believe that things happen that fast. It's not. It's producer television. It's not reality television. So I was definitely determined to...
We say unscripted.
Unscripted?
Instead of reality, we say unscripted.
Yeah.
But,
you know, and Steph, you know what? You're right. And I never looked at it as reality. I've looked at it more like a docudrama.
Yep.
Than reality, because the reality of this is, you know, nobody would watch it.
Right. But...
you know, and I think you understand that. Unfortunately, I think those lines kind of get blurred a little bit, and people kind of look at that, and, you know, they have their idols and their favorites and their heroes.
Of course.
They follow that, and I can understand that, but, you know, I think that sometimes you got to leave TV where it is and take it for what it's worth. But unfortunately, some people tend to carry that over, but hey, that's why they have commercials, right?
Right.
I mean, you're selling products. You're reaching as many people as you possibly can to influence them with, you know, the best jingles that you can, the funniest commercials. It's, you know, the power of the media can't be underestimated.
No, absolutely not. It's everything, not just paranormal. I mean, we know about the paranormal. We know about, you know, how TV shows work, you know, the background of how TV shows are put together. We know about it, so it becomes frustrating when people just take what they see in the media, but we probably do it too in everyday life, you know, about other topics besides the paranormal. You know, we see somebody on a TV show that we really enjoy watching, or we think is a great historian, or we think is great, you know, in their field, and they might not be the best, but that's who fit the television bill. That's who producers wanted, so that's what's pushed out there. So it's definitely common in everyday life, never mind paranormal.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of times, because of social media, you see like people trying to make a connection with these celebrities, and,
Right.
and you know, I mean, you could do a fascinating case study just on that in and of itself, because you know the way social media is. Everyone has a voice, whatever pops into your head.
It's very
At
interesting.
that particular time, you can, 1,000 people get to know about it.
Right. It's great and it's terrible all at the same time.
It is.
So it'll be happening next weekend on Saturday and Sunday at the Assembly Theater in Harrisville, Rhode Island. It is the 2016 Ocean State Paracon. Andrea Perrin, Amy Bruni, Dustin Parry, Samantha Hawes, Joe Chin, Krista Chesery, Tiffany Rice, Shannon Sylvia, George Lopez, Keith and Sandra Johnson, some guy named Weisberg, Rosalind Bound, Dave Giuliano, Bob Christopher, Chuckles the Clown, and of course Ken DeCosta and the whole Rise Up crew will all be there. It's happening from 12 to 7 on both days. $10 per day, $15 for the weekend. Kids under 12, $5. And the benefit charity this year is the Rhode Island Coalition Against Domestic Violence. Ken, get some rest because, it's going to be on you in a couple of days. And I've seen how you have to run around. I just knocked over a camera. I've seen how you've had to run around with this thing, and I know you're going to need that rest.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm already starting to do a little road work here so I can get myself in the best physical condition I possibly can.
Plenty of Gatorade and potato chips are coming your way.
That's it.
All right.
Chips and Gatorade.
Have a great night, sir.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me on tonight. And if you're out there, come visit us next weekend.
Absolutely. And I'll see you then.
You betcha.
Have a great night. That is Ken DeCosta, the founder of Rise Up Paranormal, and you can see him and the whole group. And I'll tell you, they do a fantastic job, the Rise Up group. You cannot give them enough credit for how much they do all the running around and organizing and everything. And so things go off very smoothly. And that'll all be happening next weekend at the Assembly Theater in Harrisville, Rhode Island. Picturesque little quaint New England village to spend the weekend at. I highly recommend that you come on out, and I highly recommend that you also come on back for the next hour of Spooky South Coast, because we're going to talk some more about this new Ghostbusters movie. We'll take your calls and thoughts as well at 508-996-0500, 877-996-1420. A lot of you people out there are opinionated about the trailer, opinionated about what you think is going to happen with the movie, but it's one thing to hide behind a keyboard and make those comments. It's another thing to call in and share them on the radio with people and streaming on YouTube as well. So hopefully you will do that as well. Spread the word. Get everybody to call in and share their thoughts. We'll be back in just a few moments with more Spooky South Coast.
New Bedford's News Talk Station. New Bedford's News Talk Station. 1420 WBSM. New Bedford. Streaming worldwide on Radio Pop and on WBSM.com.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of Spooky South Coast. Tim Weisberg along with Stephanie Burke and the silent assassin Matt Costa. And we are having a great time here tonight. Stephanie, you are how are you doing here? Are you succeeding
I'm
in
doing
what
well.
you're doing?
Yes, I am.
Because I'm just looking at
You're going to make fun of me live on air?
no, I'm just looking at this post, and I just wanted to make you aware that
Yes.
Apparently Casey put up a story,
I did see it.
and she caught a Bulbasaur here.
She did.
So
She did.
Is that a big deal?
Not really.
I don't think so. Like, if I know a Pokemon, if I know what it is, then it's probably not that good, because like I've tried playing the game for 20 years now, and every time I do, I get like 10 minutes into it. I'm like, nope, nope, this sucks.
Really?
Also, they hashtagged at my office right now, Matt. They did, for real, on the
Did they?
Pokemon post, yeah.
That's funny.
So
There's actually some kid in what is it? I'm trying to pull this. It's Wyoming who found like a dead body.
Yes.
playing
Do you wanna-
Pokemon
did
Go.
you read that article?
Yeah, it was
There's
a
all
girl.
sorts of things, like people are like going outside and in the world.
For the first time
Yeah,
in years, getting up off the couch.
Well, I thought it was a great thing that they developed, because if anybody was a kid, or maybe not a kid, in the 90s and played on Game Boy, you had Pokemon Red, Pokemon Blue, Pokemon Yellow. You just sat there on an electronic and you just played all day long. I know I did it. I know plenty of people did it, but this was kind of like ingenious.
There's as we were saying off air, I was talking about how my son was into it for a long time.
Yep.
He was like super into it for a couple of years, but now, it's kind of waned, but he still, when a new game comes out, he'll play
Right.
it. But overall, like he's not as obsessed with it as he was, but it's never gone away. I mean, there's been TV series
Well, I
that have
know,
still
like,
been on.
I watched like the original TV series. I played the original game. I know nothing about like newer Pokemon. I heard there's like tons of generations of them. But this one kind of deals on like the original so far. But for people that are listening at home, live online, YouTube or Facebook Live, in order to play Pokemon Go, you actually have to walk. And it works with Google Maps because the company that made the app actually is the Google Maps company. So you have to walk to make it work to look for Pokemon. So it's kind of like a fitness thing.
Well, for me, it would be just the same way as the original game. I'll catch one or two and be like, that's enough.
Really?
Yeah. Well, apparently I did see that they're coming out with a new watch that you would wear. So if you play Pokemon Go, you would wear this watch and it has like a
I saw
Pokeball
like a
on
clip.
it.
Yeah.
And so that way there you could take it off and literally throw it.
Oh no, I didn't see that.
Like you wouldn't you wouldn't want it to leave your hand.
Yep.
But you would just take it off, or you would leave it on your wrist and just throw your arm.
I haven't seen that. I saw the clip that you can clip to like, I saw it on somebody's like bag strap, and it buzzes when there's a Pokemon nearby.
I think it's going to be really weird if like all of a sudden I'm walking down the street and some kid just goes like, "Arr."
You know what's really funny is I've been driving around, the past 24 hours, we'll say.
Not while you're playing the game.
Oh my God, no.
All right.
Because I've seen those memes already.
Yes. But I look at people on the street now, and now I know why they're walking around, because their faces are in their phones. I may or may not have
That's been going on well before Pokemon Go.
No, but you can tell who's playing and who's not, because they're so into it. They don't even look up.
She's just trying to make it seem like there's way more people playing than there
No,
is, so
no.
she doesn't feel so bad.
Just wait. Just watch tomorrow.
I like that. I like that meme. That's like it's like a 47 car pileup, and it's like I killed 3 people, I caused millions of dollars worth of damage, but I caught a Squirtle.
Yes. Yep. It's crazy.
It is a squirrel. He's a squirrel and a turtle.
My brother said he almost
I
got
don't
hit
think
by
he
somebody.
Is that?
I'm pretty sure, right?
Are you just
What?
making
Is
that
it-
up?
That's how they got Squirtle, right? He's a squirrel and a
No,
turtle.
I think he's just a turtle.
No, he's a
look
turtle
at
with
it.
a squirrel tail.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I don't
Come
know
on.
that much about Pokemon. I did used to enjoy the original cartoon series only because I thought that Meowth was hilarious. I was like the one guy that was like, that's the guy I like. Why can't there be more of that guy on this show?
Oh my God.
And also, he was the only Pokemon that could talk English. The rest of them could only say their names because they're stupid. They're just dumbass Pokemon. But Meowth was like advanced. He was awesome. He was like a little smartass. That's why I liked him.
That's the first time I've ever heard you say that twice on air in less than a minute.
I like the meme that I sent my son too. It was like, downloads Pokemon Go, breaks into Area 51. Sir, what are you doing? You can't be in here. This is high-level security clearance to get into here. Shut up. Where's Mewtwo? I know he's in here somewhere.
Oh my God.
I thought that was a pretty good one. But yeah, but now we can relate this back to what we're talking about, because the Pokemon Go, the whole reason that game came about is based on actually an app that came out a couple years ago of Ghostbusters, where it was the exact same idea. It wasn't strategically planned out with Google Maps and everything, but you would open up the camera option through the game and Slimer would show up in your house.
I heard about that.
And you would have to kind of catch him and throw out a trap and suck him down in. So that was kind of one of the forerunners of this technology. And over the last 5, 6, 7 years, there's been a lot of Ghostbusters products that have come out.
Right.
There's been new action figures. There's been they've re-released the cartoon series, and I know that a lot of it was kind of ramping up toward the release of this new movie, but it's something that has been making a comeback over the last decade or so. I would say probably at least the last 5 years since the 25th anniversary of the first film came out. But I think that it's had good and bad ramifications, because in a way it has kept the theory of the original feeling of Ghostbusters alive for those who remember it, but in a way it's also kind of made it into this fandom universe that I think a lot of people are part of. That if this makes any sense, you can be into Ghostbusters without not actually caring about the original Ghostbusters team.
Right.
You're into the concept. You're into the idea. And I think there are a lot of people that are like that now.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why they probably looked at this movie and said, we could throw anybody in there. And as somebody pointed out in the chat room, you know, each time they've talked about doing this, they've been talking about bringing in 4 of whoever was the hottest people in Hollywood at the time.
Right.
And every time that it seemed like the movie was close to getting made, it would be whoever was the in actors or comedians of the moment. And that's part of the reason why that this crowd was selected. And I would agree with that. I think that this is because Paul Feig was the one that wanted to make the movie, so he's going to work with the people that he works with anyway. And it's also that they know that these women are popular. And I think that what's lost in that is that the original Ghostbusters were all friends and collaborative partners well before the movie came out. And I know that, you know, these 4 ladies have done that with Saturday Night Live themselves. But this 1970s Saturday Night Live creativity process, I think, was different than it was now. And everybody forgets, too, that Bill Murray wasn't even the original Peter Venkman. It was supposed to be John Belushi, but he died.
And Ernie Hudson wasn't supposed to be in the movie, right? It was supposed to be Eddie Murphy?
Yeah, they wanted Eddie Murphy, but he didn't want to commit to that because he was getting starring roles, and he didn't want to be, you know, 4th banana in that movie.
It was probably better off, too, because I think he would have been over-the-top, stereotypical black guy.
It would have been funnier. I think some of the scenes where, like, you know, like the line, like, I have seen it that'll scare you white. Like that, you know, Ernie Hudson's great, but I just think, like, Eddie Murphy would have gotten more laughs out of some of the stuff they gave Ernie Hudson to work with. But he also, I think he would have
been a little too distracting.
You would have started that movie and you would have realized, wait a minute, this guy should be the star.
Because all the characters, nobody was, like, more, like, prominent than another. You know? They were all kind of, like, even as far as popularity was concerned.
You would say that? You'd say Egon was...
Well, I'm just saying, like, nobody tried to steal the show.
Right.
Like, nobody tried to steal a scene, exactly.
Yeah, and that's the problem that I have with this cast, is they're 4 freaking scene stealers.
Right, they're all competing to be the one that's popping out in that whatever particular scene they're doing.
And I don't know how that's going to work. You know, I'm sure, you know, Paul Feig probably worked on some of that with them. But they're 4 people that have to be the center of everything that they're involved with. So how does that kind of blend together? Like, I think it became pretty obvious when Bill Murray shows up on the set of Ghostbusters and he's ad-libbing most of the movie, that they realized, all right, it's probably better just to let him go and to let him do his thing. And Dan Aykroyd could step aside and allow him to do that. Like, when you think about it, that's like Dan Aykroyd is severely underutilized in the first Ghostbusters movie. Like, he really just plays second fiddle to Bill Murray, and he does so gladly. And it's not the Dan Aykroyd persona that we're used to seeing in films. You know, he's very quiet, reserved, you know, and I feel like that is what they were trying to do with Melissa McCarthy in the trailer and the commercials that I've seen. But I don't know if that can be sustained for a whole hour and a half, 2-hour movie. Because, first of all, they all have that in them, I think. That whole look at me aspect of being involved in these scenes. But also, like, you're going to put these people in the movie. You're going to want to utilize them because their fans have come to expect certain things from them in movies. So that might play into some of it. But there is one review going around on YouTube. Has something like 600,000 views. Yikes. Matt and I were listening to it before the show, and we were talking about it.
It has that many, really?
Oh, yeah. Something like, it was either 600,000 or 300,000. Maybe it was 60,000. I don't know, but it was a lot of views. And I had the feeling, just by listening to him, that he very well could not have even seen the movie. Like, it sounded like he was just making stuff up because he wanted to put it out there and have the first review, and he knew he would get tons of views on his channel. Quite possible. But if it is legitimate and he did see the movie, he hated it. And he said that it was just a bad, bad movie. And I don't know if you can fix that kind of publicity. You can say all you want. You're against the movie because it's 4 women and that is, you know, the sexist attitude in Hollywood and the sexist attitude of audiences and all that. But if it's not funny, it's not funny.
Right. But I mean, is it gonna? Everybody is everybody hates on movies whenever anything comes out, especially if it's something.
Oh, I know. I go to
where you-
moviepoopshoot.com all the time.
Especially if there's
I'm
a movie
Magnolia
that,
fan. Sorry.
I knew you were a Magnolia fan. I could tell it. But like, especially if you hold like a movie like Ghostbusters close to your heart, you're not gonna like any new incarnation because we hate everything that's new and different.
No one likes change.
Right. I don't.
I see. I have to kind of. I agree with that about most things, but I also would say that I'd be willing to give a new Ghostbusters a shot if I thought it would be funny.
I mean, do you think this is going to be like nobody's gonna really like it now, but maybe in a year or two there's gonna be like a cult following, like maybe Anchorman did, or
Well, maybe like new generation.
maybe not Anchorman, because it's definitely not gonna be Anchorman status.
I don't know if any
Maybe
movie could be.
that's a bad example, but
That's like the Citizen Kane of comedy. Like,
right, but maybe like a Cabin Boy.
but
Or-
but Anchorman is a good example because that's a movie that people didn't get when they first saw it, and anybody that's only watched it once doesn't get it. You know, and that's kind of a good example because that shows that sometimes you don't understand all the nuances of what they're trying to do in a film. I don't think this is going to be one of those films.
You don't think it's gonna like grow on people and they're gonna
No.
appreciate it later?
Because from what I've heard, and again, this is all just speculation because we haven't seen the movie, but the people who have seen significant more chunks of it than we have come back and said the special effects are terrible. I mean, they're good, but they're cartoony, and they're too obviously CGI. One of the criticisms about the film is that even in the film can't even follow its own continuity.
Mm-hmm.
That they say at the beginning of the movie, the proton packs are designed to lasso the ghost and corral the ghost to bring it into the trap and take it to the ecto-containment unit, which anybody that knows Ghostbusters knows that's what it does. But that apparently halfway through the movie, inexplicably, the proton packs just start blowing up ghosts. So instead of catching ghosts, now you're destroying them with no explanation as to why. So that...
I mean, maybe there's more to the story that we don't know.
But if that's the case, if it's just like that, like the way I described it, that's going to aggravate me. I mean, it already is going to aggravate me, the fact that they are... Apparently this movie follows a lot of the same beats as the original movie. And this movie had, the characters are pretty much based on the same idea of the original characters. Now, I was under the impression that this is what they call a requel, where it's...
Is that a thing?
Ghostbusters
It is
3, but it's designed to kind of bring the franchise back in a new direction, which is like, did you see the new Mad Max movie, Matt?
Yeah. I thought it was really good.
And it's actually Mad Max 4.
Mm-hmm.
And it's designed to kind of keep the movie going in a new version. And so that's what a requel is. It's
like the Star Trek series?
Right.
The new ones.
The new ones. It's another Star Trek movie, but it's designed to kind of start things fresh.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I thought this was originally. But as it turns out, it's not that. It's a complete remake. Because while everybody's been like, well, Ernie Hudson's in it, and Dan Aykroyd's in it, and Bill Murray's in it, and they're passing the torch to the ladies, and they're the next generation of Ghostbusters. No, that's not it at all. The 3 original Ghostbusters are in the film, but they do not play their characters. That's what one of the points was that somebody made in one of the reviews. But when you go to the IMDb page, and again, this could be, a red herring, but Bill Murray apparently plays a character named Martin Heiss. I'm trying to see if they have the names listed for anybody else. Dan Aykroyd plays a cabbie. This is probably spoiling some of these, Ernie Hudson plays Uncle Bill, and Sigourney Weaver plays Rebecca Gorin.
Should we put out a spoiler alert?
Right.
Please. If I spoil this movie for people, they'll probably thank me later. But so this is like, why? Why are you doing that? Why would you choose to do that? And also, shame on the original Ghostbusters for agreeing to do that when they've been pushing for so long to have a connection to the new films. you want to hear some of the other cast members that are in it?
Sure. I'm
All right.
interested.
Ed Begley Jr.
I don't know who that is.
You know Ed Begley Jr. He's in everything. He's been in everything since the 80s. Charles Dance is in it.
We have a chat room question.
What's the chat room question?
I may have missed this, but does this new one take place in the same universe as the original two, or is it a whole different thing?
So apparently, from what I've seen online, there's references to the original idea of Ghostbusters. So I would think that it is kind of a continuation of what was done before, but I can't be sure about that. But I had mentioned Charles Dance. Matt, you would know him as Benedict from Last Action Hero, the bad guy from Last Action Hero. Stephanie, you would know him as the midget dude's dad on Game of Thrones.
Peter Dinklage.
Yeah. What's his dad?
I don't know his dad.
The guy with the beard.
I have no idea.
I thought you were all caught up.
I am. I just told you who
This is like
the midget guy is, but I don't know who his dad is.
The first season stuff, or
Wait,
second
what are you
season
talking
at
about?
least. No, not his real life dad. The guy who plays his dad on the show.
Tywin Lannister.
Yeah, whoever his dad
Charles
is on
Dance,
the show.
yeah.
Yeah, that's who's in this movie.
Okay.
Which I generally like him in most things that he's in. Although, did you see Dracula Untold, Matt?
No.
He played the vampire that attacks Vlad the Impaler and turns him into a vampire.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I didn't finish the movie, but he was pretty cool in it. Let's see, we're talking who else is in the movie. Of course, everybody's been making a big deal about Chris Hemsworth being the eye candy secretary. Michael McDonald, but not that Michael McDonald. Which would have been great if it was actually that. Apparently, Ozzy Osbourne has a cameo in the movie. Michael Kenneth Williams plays an FBI agent in the movie, which I think is awesome. You know who he is, right?
Who is it?
Omar from The Wire.
Oh, all right.
That would have been the way to do the movie. Just have Omar go after the ghosts. Call him up from Baltimore. Although he's dead. Well, but he could be Ghost Omar. Sorry, spoiler alert if you haven't seen The Wire. Andy Garcia's in it. Cecily Strong. Annie Potts has a cameo. So there's some pretty Toby Huss, who I always like in everything that he's in. Let's see. How could I describe Toby Huss to Matt Costa? He played Frank Sinatra in the Vegas Vacation movie. The guy who sells Nick Papagiorgio with fake ID.
Okay.
Yeah. And he used to do the Frank Sinatra impressions on MTV. So let's see. Where he was also, what else was he? He was on Carnival. So that's just looking at some of the names on there. So they have some pretty talented people. Right. But I don't know how that, bears out when the four main characters are the ones that people are most concerned about.
Yeah, I'm perusing the list myself, and I don't know. There's a lot of people that I don't know.
I'm thinking that there's a possibility. Now, there's a story out there, and I don't know how truthful these sources are because it comes from some blog post somewhere, but there's a rumor going around that reviews of the film have been embargoed, which is usually not a good thing. Like, for them to say, we don't want any print reviews put out, we don't want any online blogs reviewing the movie, like, no advanced screening reviews is never a good thing. But sometimes it's also because there's a lot of secrets that they want to keep about a movie. They don't want stuff to get out.
Well, I feel like at this point, with so much bad publicity, so many people that are up in arms about it, they would want to, if it was a good movie and they felt like it had some legs to stand on, they would want it out there. They would want no secrets. They would want a lot of people to go out and see it.
It's possible that this is all like some big bait and switch, though.
It's a ruse.
What if they just put out like bad parts in the trailer, but the actual movie is going to be great? It's possible, but there's been so much backlash. You would think that like by the time they're putting out the third trailer, they would have stuff that would want to draw people in. But instead, all I've seen is cheesy effects, terrible jokes.
Right. I mean, we're a week away from the debut. The premiere?
Well, I think it's Thursday. It technically opens.
Yeah. So I mean, you would think they would have something out to be like, you really need to go see this.
And how does it come about, too, by the way, that movies are supposed to be released on, say, Friday, and then they started doing these, like, you can go see the movie at midnight on Thursday into Friday, and then it became, well, okay, we're going to do it at 10 o'clock, but now you can go see it on, like, 7 o'clock on the Thursday. Like, well, then it doesn't really open on Friday. It opens then on Thursday.
Right. I don't know.
So that's just another thing that annoys me. And by the way, 508-996-0500, 877 if you want to get involved in the discussion. One thing that I have to say is, as bad as the movie looks like it's going to be on the surface to me, and as much debate as that has caused, I've heard nothing but universal disdain, universal hatred, universal disgust for the new song.
We're going to get flagged on YouTube for this.
And you know what? YouTube is doing people a favor if they flag this video. No, this isn't stuck. It's not buffering. It really just does this for like 30 seconds. Have you heard this yet, Stephanie?
No.
Good thing you didn't eat any of those chips, because you'd probably be throwing them up right now. I'm afraid. I'm afraid that song sucks.
Oh my god. So,
Do you want me to leave it until the Missy Elliott rap comes? It's like the only time Missy Elliott ruins the song even more.
really?
I'm like, oh, maybe Missy Elliott will save the song. She's
I kinda
usually
like
pretty
Missy
good.
Elliott.
You do, you don't.
Her
I
part's
do.
good. Her
Yeah,
part's
I
good.
do.
It's
See, I don't
short,
like it.
though.
I like Fall Out Boy too.
Boo.
And with that, the friendship ended.
Unfriended.
Oh my god.
But even Fall
You
Out,
can't get rid of me even if you tried. You know that,
Fall
right?
Out Boy fans are lining up against this song.
You know what? I'm not like that big of a fan where I really care.
I've never heard enough of their stuff to be able to judge this compared to their other stuff.
Yeah.
But I could judge this compared to, like,
Yeah, like I like the few songs that they came out with.
there it is. Probably should have asked. This is suitable for airplay, right?
Yeah.
It's not horrible.
No, it's pretty bad.
Well, I mean, like her talent, no, but whatever she has to say is. Not
Those
her,
are
I
the
guess.
same lyrics, right?
Is it?
Not the
No.
Missy Elliott part, but the...
Oh, I was gonna say Missy Elliott. No.
No, are you
I
sure?
don't think so. I thought it was. Well, yeah. They're referencing. Yeah, they're saying the original lyrics. Yes.
Right.
I'm sorry. I didn't follow your question correctly. It was pretty straightforward question, and I just still was. My mind was so scrambled from having to hear that.
Right.
Now, I don't.
But the thing is,
What do we-
it sounds like just like an overproduced end of movie like credits song.
Right. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not the hook
No, it's
that
not.
you need to get people to come to this movie.
No, it's like the thing where
But
you're
does it
you're
work
like
in this generation? Because we're comparing to something that was in a completely different lifetime.
No, I'm not even comparing it to the original song, because the original song, let's be honest, the original song is really cheesy. It is, but we still love it, but it's just really cheesy.
Right.
And if that came across as really cheesy, even then I'd be like, okay. It's just, they shouldn't have referenced the original song
Okay.
and just gone with something original. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with
I'm scared.
Ghostbusters 2.
No.
But, you know, when Ghostbusters 2 came out, they decided that they needed a new song. So
You were
they went in a
dancing
completely
right now.
different direction.
I hope we caught that.
They got...
Well, they were probably trying to get something similar to the original with this. I think that they're trying to reach out to a different generation. I feel like you're just...
I'm kind of in the Bobby Brown zone right now.
Right.
Let me know when you're done.
Well, you already did the rap part at the beginning, so. Too hot to handle, too cold to hold. How can you not dance to a Bobby Brown song?
Something almost flew out of my mouth and I caught myself at the last minute.
You don't like Bobby Brown?
Bobby B.
I don't know.
Wow.
Want to hear funny Bobby
You're
Brown
killing all
story?
the YouTube money.
Oh, look, and look who's in the video. Who's that in the video for on our own?
sorry.
Donald Trump. Oh, see, it all connects.
Funny story. I was at a house party.
I thought you were going to say he wrote the song Humping Around about you.
Oh my god, no.
I'm just kidding. You were like not even born, I don't think, when that came out.
I was at a house party once, and
A house party.
Yep.
No,
and
that's Kid and Play. You're getting confused.
What are you two talking about?
House Party was Kid and Play.
Okay,
Bobby
no,
Brown was
listen.
Every Little Step
Listen,
I Take.
I went to a house party. I walked in and everybody was freaking out and saying Bobby Brown was there. I turned around. Lo and behold,
Free drugs.
it was the weirdest
Get out.
experience of my life.
Free drugs. About whenabouts was this?
Oh my god. More than 10 years ago?
Oh, so he was probably really messed up at that time.
If you're showing up to a local house party, I have to say yes, probably.
Hey,
But it was. It
you
was
never
weird.
know. Rob Gronkowski shows up at people's birthday parties if they pay him enough. So you never can be too sure.
No, it was really random. Really
Bill
strange.
Murray shows up at random parties, apparently.
No one will ever believe you.
Oh my god.
That's what he does. He shows up places, and when he
I
does
think
like
it's
these
funny.
weird things, and then says, "No one will ever believe you," and then walks away.
But now we have cell phones.
It doesn't matter.
No?
It happens so fast that there's a story about there's a restaurant in New York where they make, I don't know, like subs. It's like a sub shop or something. And he walks in, goes into the back, throws on a pair of gloves,
Yep.
makes himself a sandwich, grabs a soda out of the machine, puts a $20 bill or a $50 bill, whatever, on the counter, turns to everybody in the restaurant and says, "No one will ever believe you," and walks away. It happens so fast, nobody can get any video for. There's
That's
like
weird.
whole websites dedicated to
Really?
the story. He like shows up at people's weddings. Like he'll just be somewhere and they'll say that there's a wedding. And, like if he's at a golf course,
Yep.
He plays a lot of golf. He'll just walk into the wedding, toast the bride and groom and leave.
Wow.
A lot
Somebody's
of
got to catch that on film.
a lot of people don't know this, but his car gets painted at the New Bedford Mako.
Really?
Yeah. Did you hear this story a couple of years ago?
No.
He was on David Letterman, and he was talking about how he's had this Jeep Grand Wagoneer since like 1987.
Mm-hmm.
And he keeps it at his house in Martha's Vineyard. And so Martha's Vineyard, instead of going to the Cape, because of whatever side he lives on Martha's Vineyard,
Yep.
it's easier for him to go to New Bedford.
Mm-hmm.
So he has the car ferried over here to have it painted every couple of years, and then he has it ferried back to Martha's Vineyard. He doesn't do it, but somebody does it for him.
Right.
But he'll make the phone call to set it up to be done. So he was on David Letterman, and he was talking about, this car that he has, and he said, shout out to the New Bedford Mako. And I heard it, and I was like, what? So I was here on a Saturday morning, and I was thinking about it all through the course of the show. And then afterwards, I was like, you know what? I want to just call over there. And I called them and I talked to them about it. And I wrote like a whole blog post about it. But they said, oh, yeah, he's been getting his car painted here every couple of years for a long time.
Wow.
And he calls and he makes the appointment. And that's pretty much the extent that we deal with him. But he's always really nice about it and really cool. So, yeah. So there's a connection between Bill Murray and the South Coast.
Interesting.
Nice.
All right. I got to catch up on the chat room here.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to take this call.
Okay.
Good evening. You're on Spooky South Coast.
Good evening, guys.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm pretty good. I'm supposing you guys are spectacular.
As always.
I have to say, I don't think I'm going to touch this movie with a 10-meter cattle prod.
Really?
As a throwback to the first movie.
You're not even going to give it at least a cable viewing?
Probably not, based on the song you guys just played.
The song alone did it?
Although I hope that I don't get this song stuck in my head as bad as I did the Pinky the Clown Happy Birthday song.
Oh,
He
my
did.
God.
He messaged me the other day and said it's still stuck in my head.
Yes. Oh, and I
It's
forgot
awful.
to say happy. Yeah, it's completely awful, but yeah, that was Garfield. So, hey, as an ironic topic, wasn't Bobby Brown on like an episode of like Celebrity Ghost Stories of like when ghost attacks or something like that?
I wouldn't be
Probably.
surprised. If
I
there's
think he
a
was.
paycheck, why wouldn't he be?
Right. So, yeah, I'm not excited about Ghostbusters at all. I'm not going to see it. Period. Enough said.
Well, I think that. I mean, I'm not gonna. I don't know, because I'm kind of torn about it, because I feel like I have to see it, because I can't comment on it if I don't see it. You know what I mean? But then at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, I got to take $15 out of my own pocket.
Do you not want to support it? Is that what it is?
That's kind of what it is. That's why I wanted to set up a thing at the movie theater where we could kind of host the movie, but I didn't follow up on that.
I could understand that. But although based on what you said about the proton packs blowing up things, I wonder if Moniz could verify whether or not a positron glider could actually blow up something.
Oh, God.
Now why do you think he's not here tonight?
I have no idea.
It did.
I won't ask.
Sound like a bike. Could have been a bike.
Or thunder? That was loud.
Yeah, it does look kind of wet out there.
Sorry.
Not
We
much
just
rain on the Cape.
What'd you say, Russ?
Not much rain on the Cape.
Oh, it's the ground's wet out here, and I know that there were supposed to be some storms coming in.
Yeah,
so
there was a huge rumble just now.
Well, maybe it's coming my way. But
Could be.
on another note, can I have a shameless plug?
Absolutely.
I will be at Ocean State Paracon with my crew, Shoveltown Investigations.
Nice.
I'm very a little excited. You know, we're kind of new to the Paracon circuit, so I think it'll be a fun time.
And have you been to Ocean State before?
This will be my first time.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic. It's a great family atmosphere, as I was saying before. You know, you'll get a chance to network with a lot of other groups, and you know, a lot of groups that are involved in this that come out and get a table at these events. They're like, you know, we don't usually do these things, but we do this one because it's for a good cause. And they'll do like Paranormal for Paws because it's for a good cause. You know, so you'll get to meet a lot of people who are really in it just for, you know, doing the right thing instead of just being in it to get attention for themselves.
Well, cool. Yeah, we're going to be doing Eastern Penn State, I think, penitentiary at the end of the month.
Well, that sounds
And,
exciting.
I think, yeah, we're excited for that. And I believe maybe a couple of us will be at Coast of the Gateway. So a little excited for that as well. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And we're looking forward to it this weekend. So it'll be a good time. So.
Well,
Yeah.
we will see you next weekend. At least I will.
Yes.
I'll have to Zoom
Hey,
you guys
just-
from Florida.
The who?
I said I'll have to Zoom you guys from Florida.
We talked about Zoom last week. You can't get those records anymore.
What?
Captain Zoom.
No, not that. Zoom video conference call.
Okay.
I gotta teach you all kinds of stuff.
All right, Ross. Well, we'll see you next weekend.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
And somebody just messaged me on Facebook saying that they not only is that song awful, but that they love how they can watch us on their TV, because you
did see
can
that.
do that with
YouTube.
YouTube. I did that earlier. I was streaming YouTube on the YouTube app on PS3, and the show looks great on the TV. So if you want to watch the show as you're listening, you can just go to YouTube and hook it up to your TV. However you do that, some people do it right on the TV. Some people have to, connect their laptop to the TV or whatever. But you can watch the show. We have the streaming YouTube video and the chat room going on in there. Was there anything in the chat room that you needed to bring up?
Well, there was a few questions, and I didn't realize we had a phone call, so I was going to ask them right then. But there's lots of discussion, obviously, on the song that we played and how people's ears are bleeding. Scott Beeman asked, Tim, I know you love Poltergeist, as do I. What do you think of that remake? And then he said he wanted to open it up to the whole room.
Well, I didn't hate the remake. I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was a little different than the original, but I can understand why. Like, remaking that was an iffy thing, because the whole success of that franchise was based around, like, I really believe that they were a family. I didn't look at it as like these are just a bunch of actors pretending to be a family. I felt they were a family, and I felt for them and what they were going through. And plus, I just thought the paranormal aspects of the first Poltergeist were really cool. I thought the backstory was really cool. And I was worried that they wouldn't follow up with a lot of that. But when I watched the remake, I really did like it. I don't know if I would be as invested in that as I was in the original, but at least I wasn't sorry that I spent an hour and a half of my life watching it. So that's my feelings on that. I know you haven't seen it, Stephanie, because you don't watch horror movies.
Hell no.
Matt, did you see the new Poltergeist?
I did not know.
It's worth it. If you're in the mood for a horror movie, I would give it a chance. There's some horror movies that I think have been pretty good in the last couple of years. I actually thought the first Conjuring was pretty good as a horror movie. I thought Conjuring 2 was actually pretty good as a horror movie. I thought Babadook was pretty good.
I thought it was good as well.
Like, as with most horror movies, the ending always seems to disappoint me. But generally, I liked it, and I thought it was pretty creepy. So that is...
Nothing in me wants to be scared.
But it's okay to be scared when you're watching a horror movie.
But I'm just not into it. Nothing in me wants the thrill of watching a scary movie, because then I have nightmares about it, and then I don't want to go to sleep. I like happy things.
I'm just trying to figure out where I've got this music coming in somewhere over my queue. I'm just trying to get rid of it. But the Poltergeist remake was all right. I do get worried when I see like the new Exorcist TV show that's coming out. I don't know if you guys have seen anything about this.
No.
It's a series, a television series
Maybe I did hear about
based on The Exorcist. And Gina Davis plays the mom, so there's a South Coast connection there. Anybody that doesn't know, she's from Wareham. What up, Scott, in the chat room, Wareham? Woo. But she is somebody who, has done horror movies before. But when you're putting something iconic like that out there, people are going to tear it apart. I didn't watch the Omen TV show, but I've heard mixed reviews about it.
I didn't either.
I started watching the Bates Motel show.
Mm-hmm.
But that went in a direction that I didn't care for. When I started watching season 2 and it's all about like this marijuana growing operation, I'm like, no. I just want to see Norman Bates go crazy and kill his mom and dress up like her. Like, that's the whole point of it. But I don't know. They apparently felt like they had to bring people into that, so I'm just
Oh no.
I'm just going to
Now
play some more
what?
Ghostbusters music. A good, happy, upbeat song.
This is like the entire soundtrack.
Yeah, I found the whole thing. This one. This is the song that plays at the end of the movie when they're like getting ready to go like to the top of Dana's building and take on Gozer. I have this cassette. Oh, there is lightning. That was kind of perfect timing.
Holy downpour. Did you see this?
Wait, if we're gonna have a thunderstorm while we're talking about the Ghostbusters soundtrack, then we gotta go with this one. This is like when the really creepy stuff is happening in the movie. Like when Dana and Lewis turn into dogs. All that purple ghost stuff is building up over the city and the dark clouds roll in. Yeah, see? You can't even make YouTube clips of this because they're just gonna get taken down. But maybe they'll allow it. Maybe they'll be like, you know what? Anything that can keep the original Ghostbusters going at this point in time. See, I don't know. I know that it's cheesy and 80s sounding.
Yep.
But it fit the movie.
Yeah.
Like, they were perfect mood music pieces for what was going on in the film. And I can't think of any point in the movie where that Fall Out Boy song could play and not be a distraction. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's only they're going to play at the end when people are walking out.
Right, as you said, it sounds like an end credits song. You know, which if that's all that they wanted, fine. But the original Ghostbusters song, like, gave you something that could happen at any point in the movie.
I mean, is there more to the soundtrack? Have they released the soundtrack yet?
I don't think so. I haven't seen anything yet. If you want to take a look and see if you can find it, I'm not seeing anything on my end. But I guess all the questions will be answered coming out in the next couple of days. The movie debuts here in America on the 16th or the 15th, but apparently it debuts internationally July 10th. So you know what that means, Matt Costa?
What's that?
Means we'll be able to watch pirated versions of it by the 11th. So hopefully by next week we'll have seen the movie.
I guess so. If you do that,
if you do that kind of thing, we would never do that kind of thing. By the way, I got to give you compliments for that. How can I put this in a way that won't get us in legal trouble? That's that student film you put on my computer.
What?
Now it just sounds dirty.
Right. I was like, how's that any better? You guys sound like a bunch of creeps.
Sounds like a casting couch.
Well, anyway, the quality of that was fantastic. That was one of the best student film quality I've ever seen.
It was a good documentary.
It was a very good documentary about a group of superheroes and the problems that befall them when pulled in different directions.
It's getting weirder and weirder.
I did find other songs, but I don't know who these people are.
Well, rattle them off. We got like 2 minutes.
5 Seconds of Summer. Do you know?
That is like a new group that like tweens are listening to.
Yeah,
that
there was.
Really?
They call punk, which is not even close.
There was commercials with them, like you know how they do like those big
Disney.
Pepsi summer concerts.
Yep.
Like 5 Seconds of Summer will be there. So like,
and
I was like, that's 4.5 more seconds than I want to hear of them.
Yeah, I don't know. I
I
don't
think they're
know
like a
anything about them.
Disney-ish kind of group.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Gerald Earl Gillum.
No.
And I guess he's performing this as G-Eazy.
Oh God.
Oh well.
Keep going.
You know.
Whoever that is. Zayn Malik.
That's
one of the
One Direction
guys. Yeah, even I know that.
But he's blown up in the in like the pop category.
Oh.
So also terrible.
Like R&B-ish pop kind of. These are popular, but not among us.
So this
and Elle King, whoever Elle King.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, Elle King, like ELLE?
Yeah.
Oh, that's Rob Schneider's daughter. Yeah, she's good.
She's got a song.
Yeah, you know that song.
It's only 6. There's only 6 songs on the soundtrack so far, I guess.
You know that you know the Elle King song. It's all over the radio.
Nope.
I only listen to WBSM.
No, they play her on.
I was just gonna say what I listen to,
thought-
but it's probably not recommended that I do that.
They play her on Fun 107, so you probably heard it. You probably been
Maybe.
walking by and heard it.
Yeah.
By the way, every Saturday night when I come in to do Spooky South Coast, no matter what time I come in, they're always playing Uptown Funk, which is fine by me. I love that song. This is Elle King.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
It's the song that sounds like an Old Navy commercial.
We got about half a minute left.
So there you go. I just want to play one more song to get us banned off YouTube with this video. But
Oh,
I
goodness.
didn't mention anything that they would flag us for, so we should be all right. All right, well, that does it for this week. We'll be back next Saturday night. Until then, stay spooked.